A UX design portfolio is of superb importance if you want to land a good job in this industry. And a hiring manager expects a good UX portfolio when considering you for that job he or she has posted. And what they expect to see on that portfolio is your design skill set, your process, who you are as a person, and how you stand out from the other applicants who have got a design portfolio. And a successful portfolio is able to showcase all of these three things. And in this video, I'll be talking about how you can structure your portfolio in a way that it meets the requirements of a hiring manager. In this video, let's talk about how you need to structure your portfolio and the mindset you should have while designing for it. Let's talk more about it. So let's talk about UX design portfolios. First of all, what is the main focus of designers nowadays? The main focus is honing their technical skill sets. If I talk to any of the emerging designers, everything they'll talk about or try to showcase is their ability to use the softwares, Figma, Adobe Suite. That's good. And without the skills, you're unlikely to be hired if you can't even use the software properly. But you know what else matters? Being able to sell yourself. And that's where a portfolio comes in. The UX portfolios are used by designers to showcase their skills and knowledge to get hired. Now, this is the definition I got from Google, right? If you search for it, this is the definition you will see. The emphasis is on skills and knowledge. But are skills and knowledge enough? And that is where the misconception comes in. That's why people have been doing portfolios the wrong way. I've talked to a lot of senior designers and hiring managers at big companies like Big Tech and Google and Meta. They've all talked about these insights which I'm going to share in this video. So, are skills and knowledge enough now? And the answer is no, because UX design is one of the most accessible design industries available in the market today. Right? Anyone can come in and learn the core skill sets to be a user experience professional. I myself have transitioned into this profession from a computer science background. A lot of my colleagues have unconventional starting points as careers, and they have all transitioned into this design space because of its accessibility. Because if you do enough research, you can learn this all for free from the internet. There are so many free resources out there. So, anyone can learn how to do interviews, user flows, wireframes, and basic UI in a few months. So, what makes you so special that someone will pay you to do it? And that's where the selling parts comes in. That's why portfolios need to be able to sell you, your unique value proposition. So, how do we do it? First is get a specialty. Right? Specialize. Biggest issue with junior designers today is their lack of focus on what they actually want to do. So just answer this question for yourself. Why did you join the UX industry? Do yourself a favor and answer that question. And that is how you will start to think about your specialization. Why you do what you do. What do you essentially want to achieve as a UX design? Do you want to build apps? Do you want to create a social impact? Do you want to work for climate or edtech? Just find why you do what you do. Because too many portfolios show off too much work from all over the place. There would be one key case study which would be for a food delivery app. There would be another one which will be a social network. So it's all over the place. The platforms, even some are mobile apps, some are desktop apps. And it actually puts you at a disadvantage because most of the time hiring managers don't actually know what the hell you excel at. You're showing them so much, they cannot associate you with one thing. What are you actually good at? So that's why it's important to specialize. Then show stories, not highlight reels. In every portfolio, it's very rare that you show something else. You show a case study which was not successful. Everybody shows the good stuff. And this is my personal opinion. It makes you look fake. Because it is unrealistic for a designer or any professional out there to constantly deliver. Either you're lying or you're delusional or you're both. Also, A positive case study only proves your track record in delivering success. It doesn't show you how you handle failure and setbacks. And trust me, there are going to be many failures and setbacks when you are in the professional world or when you're working at the job you're applying for. And that is an aspect they want to assess you on as well from your portfolio. And again, will you read predictable stories over and over again? Because that's what most of the case studies are now. They have a predictable start, they have a predictable end, they follow a predictable process, and that's it. Most portfolios today have a predictable start and end project. Sorry, but design simply doesn't work that way. You cannot define one process, as I talked about in my previous video, and it cannot always deliver. There will be setbacks, there will be iterations. Each time the case study would be different because the factors and the users and the people you are building for are different. Third, stop with the boilerplate UX Folio templates. Now, UX Folio is a website. If you don't know, you can use it to build a UX portfolio, but don't use their templates. This is what they generally look like. The general layout is the top or corner section for introduction and links, one directional grid layout for project case studies, as I've shown. And I'm not kidding. The second one, this one, is the exact layout I used for my first UX portfolio. It worked, but also do understand that was 2 years ago. In the span of 2 years, there are a lot more designers who are now more aware of how things work because there are more resources. I don't think there was UX folios 2 years back, but I may be wrong. At least I didn't know about it. But now people know about it. And now it is even more important to stand out. So this is what it looks like. They are nice. I love the aesthetic because it's minimal, but it's a drawback as well because I can only see your work. I cannot see you, who you are as a person. I cannot see your brand. And if you are already famous using some other medium like YouTube or LinkedIn or some any other social, then you can get away with a portfolio like this because people already know you. But if they don't know you and they want to know you from your portfolio, then having a layout like this has got no personality. Next. Okay. So, and actually it's ironic that as UX designers, we call ourselves a master of digital design, right? We can't design our own website, and it actually comes across as very ironic. But please know your limits though. If you can't do proper web design, I mean you should, but for some reason if you can't, either don't or get a professional to do it for you, or use a different platform to present your work. Don't use a website, use some other platform. And again, you don't need a personal website to succeed. Try it and test it. I know there's this big stigma out there that you need to have this entire website to for yourself, and definitely it is important, but not necessarily for a beginner level job. And you can instead use a PDF. You can prototype your entire website on a Figma. I mean, it can work for beginner level roles, but I would not recommend it because Figma prototypes are not responsive. So tread carefully there. Notion is a very, very popular choice nowadays in your UX portfolios, and many people have been doing it. So these three are alternatives if you don't want to go with the personal website route. And then there are always the design platforms like Behance and Dribble. So those are good options as well. Lastly, let your personality shine, and that is where you would stand out. Even if your work is mediocre, your unique and one of a kind personality would make you stand out. It's so important to write a bio in your resume, figure out personal branding, or spend some time to figure out what's the best format for your portfolio. So be sure to showcase yourself, who you are as a person, what are your interests, what is your story, because people are not just hiring your skills, they're hiring you as well. Too many designers neglect the power of personal branding and personal storytelling. Hiring managers aren't just looking at your skill sets, they are also looking at the person, and they want to see if you are a culture fit. Because many companies nowadays, even the company I work at, we all have this strong culture we are trying to build, and it's super important that the person we hire or the person who joins the team is of a similar persona. they have the similar attributes as all the team members, because that's the only way a team works. Lastly, I'm just giving you this biggest tip. Reference designers who are more experienced than you. Let me repeat, reference from high quality professionals instead of the templates your boot camps gave you. Because let me tell you, if I'm pretty sure that you were not the only one in that boot camp, in your cohort you may have 50 or 100, and the entire existence of that boot camp, there would have been thousands. And all 1,000 of you have the same template. All 1,000 of you have the same portfolio. All 1,000 of you are applying for the same job. How would that work? So instead, reference the designers who you admire, who you think, okay, this is the design aspect I can see myself having on my own portfolio. So what you need to do, make a Frankenstein of all the portfolios you loved from other designers you respect. Don't just copy one. Take all the portfolios you like, take all the elements from each of them you would like to add in your portfolio, then combine all of them and create your own portfolio. A general process to use for building a portfolio. Now I'm just giving you these action items of how you can go about building a portfolio. First is determine a platform. Either it can be a PDF, Notion, Medium, website, design platforms like Dribble and Behance, or a Figma prototype. Again, Figma prototype not recommended because of responsiveness, but if you're just starting out, you can go with that route. Then get references. Use the bestfolios.com website. I used it from my portfolio. It houses portfolios and resumes from people working in big tech and many other big companies. You can definitely browse through them, take elements of how they are structuring it, how the layout works. But at the end of the day, that's just it. You need to have your own brand into it as well. So use these references, make a Frankenstein, and then add your brand to it. Then it will have this original portfolio that would be associated with you. Mock your design and get feedback. adpls.org is the best place to go about this. And full disclaimer, I have used it and I'm currently in the process of redesigning my portfolio, and I am using this platform to link up with a mentor. And lastly, redesign it after set intervals. Portfolios need to change. I created one 2 years back. I'm now redesigning it. It was long overdue, but after set amount of intervals, like 1 year, refresh it, redesign it, add some new case studies, keep it up to date, right? Because if you leave it, you will leave it. It's quite tough to go back and redesign it. Lastly, I'm just going to leave you with this thought. There is no originality in design. Don't beat yourself up to be original. Have a very original portfolio. Because in fact, some design experts argue that if the theory of originality is valid at all, I don't know if you have read the book like Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, but if you haven't, read it. It's got the same theme, that the theory of originality is valid or not, and it talks more about it. As designers, we are inspired by the things that surround us, and that can hold true when creating portfolios. It's all about presentation. And in order to find or create or replicate that oomph in your presentation, you need to look at the work of others and be able to pick out what excites you, and then create a Frankenstein portfolio. And that was all. Subscribe to stay updated, because the next video is going to be about portfolios, but from a more practical perspective. And follow me on Instagram at shahzebkazmi.design. I hope after watching this video, you have a clear idea of what steps you need to take in order to build a design portfolio for yourself that meets the requirements of a hiring manager. And in the next video, I will talk more about how you need to build a portfolio, essentially how you need to design your portfolio. This video was all about the theory and how you should structure it, the theory behind it, the philosophy behind it. In the next video, I'll talk more from a tangible perspective and show you what kind of a design portfolio works. And until then, thank you for watching this video.